Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. I hope that everybody has been doing wonderful and well, and I appreciate you being here at the sofa. Now today what I would like to talk about are just some overall case updates, and some of these are going to be Faith Hedgepeth, the search for Brian Laundrie, some stuff going on with Brian Morphew, and another sad, tragic case of a young lady who went missing, Miya Marcano, and the end result of that. Now, before we get started in all of that, if you like scary movies, if you like reviews, if you like story times, if you like it all wrapped up into one, then consider checking out my other channel, A Slice, A Spice, and a Dice Movie Reviews. It's free, it's new, give it a try. Now, also, if you want to see more of my stuff, some of my takes on like absurd Florida man headlines, personal story times, as well as, some cases that are just a little bit too dicey to talk about here, then consider joining Patreon and or a channel membership, and you can expect to find all of that there. Now, all that being said, I do want to thank everybody who makes the channel possible. This would not be here without you. This is an amazing community that we've all built, and I greatly appreciate each and every one of you for supporting the channel, for hanging out in the comment section, sharing videos, and keeping these cases alive for the victims as well as their family. Now, all that being said, let's go ahead and get to edition. Okay, y'all, so the first thing I want to get out of the way is the Brian Morphew stuff. Okay, now if you follow me for a while, you know that summertime gets super busy for me. I'm constantly traveling, all that kind of stuff for work. So a lot of this took place, was bubbling or whatever while I was at work and traveling. So the other day when I read this headline about his gal pal, I was like, what? How did I've missed so much with this. So anyways, that's what we're talking about. And what we're talking about is the recent headline that came out that this lady has been arrested. Now, very quickly, remember, Suzanne Morphew, that is the alleged late wife now of Brian Morphew, went missing a year ago, Mother's Day, 2020. Almost a year, before that happened, he made that plea video, that pre-recorded with lighting video that raised a lot of red flags with us. Then almost a year to the date, he was arrested and charged in relation to what has seemingly happened to Suzanne. Okay, so there's all that. He goes to court. He then, he's there for a hot minute. He makes bail, $500,000, and he walks out, daughters in arm, and he is free, if you will. So there's all that. So this story kind of came out and it was like, oh, this is, filling us in a little bit more of what's going on. So Shoshana Dark, she's 51 years old, and this is the alleged girlfriend, gal pal of Barry. Now, as of the time of this recording, they both deny that. They're just friends and whatnot. However, they've been caught, at a hotel on Valentine's Day. They've also seen, got footage of his car going back and forth to her home. There's a lot of things surrounding it. Now, he is apparently staying with her, from what I can understand, almost next door neighbors in the same neighborhood as his former home on Puma Path and Salida. So that just seems all sorts of weird to me. Now, keep in mind that he sold that home to someone else, so he doesn't even own that home anymore, which a lot of us are kind of like, what, when that happened? But regardless. So what took place is on a Monday, the owners of this home, they have a ring bell. Now, apparently this is a vacation home for them, so this isn't even something that they live at full time, you know what I'm saying? Regardless, they see this woman popping up on their ring bell, and so they contact their contact person or whatever with the police, and they're like, look, somebody's trespassing, yada yada yada. I can only imagine the stuff that they put up with at this house, y'all. Okay, so that takes place. Police look at it and they're like, oh, we know her. And so they explain to the couple, look, this is who she is associated with Barry, and they're like, we don't know her. Okay. And so they're like, yeah, we don't know her. Well, she was seen leaving the house with a package under her arm. So she had parked at the end of the driveway, walked down the end of the driveway, whatever, and gets his package off the porch and leaves. Okay, so they figure this out. They go arrest her. Now, she was, I think it was a $500 bail or something like that, and she's been charged with trespassing. Okay, that's the two-cent version of what went on with that. Here's my whole problem with that. I mean, there's many problems with it, but first of all, regardless of what's in the package, okay, I would hope to God that somebody's not so stupid as to order something even more dicey. But regardless, they ordered something, it went to the wrong house. Maybe it sounds to me like I've read somewhere that like maybe they didn't change a shipping address and so it showed up there. It could have been something benign. Honestly, that's happened to me before several times. The delivery people love to drop our stuff off at a neighbor's, and we call them and we're like, hey, I think we got a package, yada yada yada. I would never walk over there and take their package, okay? I take my package out of their porch. I just want to do that, especially if I was out on a $500,000 bond, bail, whatever, on the charges that he is on. I am sure he was probably like, look, I can't go over there, okay? You going over there. You know, and she was like, okay. And so she went over there. So first of all, it's the entitlement for me, okay? It's that whole idea of, well, you're gonna walk over, this is my package. I used to own the house. And y'all, that's the conversation I'm having in my head that I'm sharing with y'all, okay? But just from what I've seen of this house, I'm like, oh, please, I'm sure those thoughts went right through his mind. So now the gal pal has caught a charge over this. Now, here's my other thing with that. Isn't this like a page out of a familiar book, y'all? How come we see this happening over and over again? Okay, you know who I'm talking about. The other Colorado case, okay, y'all know which one I mean. And then the other one up in Connecticut with photos, you know? It's just like, come on, I don't get this. And so, again, I know they haven't publicly announced, oh, they're boyfriend, girlfriend, and whatever, okay? It is suspect to me that the cops are alleging that, look, this relationship looks like it started a couple of months after Suzanne went missing. I'm just like, really? You know, okay. So, but it's just that level of entitlement that really bothers me with it. Now, obviously, there's a lot more entitlement and all that kind of stuff going on with this case, you know, but it just is like, how can you get out on a bond on a case like this and a charge like this, and then do anything that could potentially, possibly make the police bat an eye at you? It just astounds me. Now, speaking of entitlement and astounding and shocking and all that, let's switch over to the Brian Laundrie case. Okay, and the Gabby Petito case, I apologize, but the Gabby Petito case, the search for Brian. Okay, so I saw this and I was just like, y'all, this case is getting really crazy. Okay, it was already crazy and tragic, but this search for him is like, oh, whoa, okay. So what I'm reading is that a Florida engineer, his name's Dennis Davis, he was on the Appalachian Trail in North Carolina, but like near the Tennessee border on a back road, and he is saying that a man approached him driving a car, and the man was very sketchy acting, very disheveled, very just that, okay? And the guy was wanting to know how to get to California on back roads. Good luck with that. Can you imagine how long that would take? First of all. Secondly, do you know how long it would take even on an interstate? But that's beside the point. So this dude is like, you know, the guy was really nervous acting all this. The guy told him, yeah, you know what? Me and my fiance got in an argument, but we've made up and I need to go to California to get her or to see her or something, which that's very questionable regardless. So this guy is like, you know, well, look, I-40's right there. And he's like, no, I don't want the interstate. I just want back roads. So this was the interaction that took place. And the guy was basically like, I didn't know that it was Brian Laundrie at first. And he was like, but then it hit him. He saw pictures or whatever. So then he had Dog the Bounty Hunter's daughter send him a voice clip of Brian Laundrie speaking, and he was like, hands down 100% that was Brian Laundrie that I talked to. I have no doubts in my mind. So, yo, that is alleged. We don't know. We have no idea, okay? If it really is true, and Brian is driving a truck and all this, that is 100% not what I would be expecting, because I'm just like, that's going to be the easiest way to get caught, is driving a vehicle. You know, now I'm not saying, oh, don't follow up on it, don't believe it. Obviously, follow the lead, whatever needs to happen. But on the same note, I'm just like, something seems very weird with that. You know, something seems very odd. Again, hopefully it's true. Hopefully he's driving a car, probably with something expired or headlight out or whatever, and he gets pulled over and they catch him, okay? If that is the case. The whole thing of that story, I'm just like, we'll see. We're going to start seeing this more and more and more. more and more people are going to come out. And so far it worked. I mean, with social media coming out, these people saying, hey, I had contact with him, so on and so forth. So maybe it's kicking back up. Maybe he is interacting with people. I would think if he truly is hiding out in the woods or trying to escape in that fashion, he's going to get to a certain point of desperation, because you can only hide for so long when like everybody knows your face, you know what I'm saying? So that part is intriguing to me, and hopefully will lead to something. Now, another case next up on the list that I want to discuss, and this is another one taking place in North Carolina here locally in Chapel Hill, and that is the case of Faith Hedgepeth. Now remember, this is the tragic case of the young lady. She was 19 years old, a UNC student, and her life was stolen in a horrific manner on September 7th, 2012, and it's seemingly the case just went cold until recently, when a gentleman was arrested and charged in connection with what happened to Faith. Miguel Enrique Salguero-Olivares is the man who got arrested, and y'all, I had to practice saying that name for a hot second, so I apologize if I've like ripped that up or whatever. But regardless, he was arrested, he was charged. Okay, so very little's like so far been known and whatever. So I want to talk about a few things that we are learning about him so far. Now, the first is going to be that, you know, he was in court, whatever, and the Durham DA is saying we are not going to be seeking capital punishment against him. This is a non-capital case. So we know that much, at least right now. So I'm guessing it would just be a life without parole. I mean, it's, you know, to me, that's what he deserves. So if not, you know, the big C charge, but if they're saying they're not going to do that, then the next best thing is life without parole. So he came to the U.S. from Guatemala about 2010. Now, he too was a teenager. This was a couple of years before what happened to Faith happened. Now, the most recent address that he had was in Durham. He apparently was like a painter over there, and one of the neighbors they talked to said that he spoke little to no English when he came over. So there's a little bit of a question about his, you know, ability to speak fluent English or not. Now, he does have some history on his record. These revolve around driving, DUI, no insurance, no license, that type of thing. The charges came in 2014 and 2021. So what they're speculating, because remember, they caught him with DNA. And so it was this whole thing, where does DNA come from? Where did it come from? Well, apparently this area, Chapel Hill, Durham, whatever, is known for doing DNA swabs and whatnot. And so it sounds like maybe this most recent arrest that he did, maybe they swabbed his DNA and it hit up as a match. Now, I don't know that for fact. That's just kind of my opinion of what I'm reading in between the lines here. Now, he was supposed to appear on September 3rd, 2021 on that August 21st charge, and he never showed up. So he actually did have a warrant out for his arrest. Now, another dynamic that I thought was interesting is a gentleman named Hunter Glass, who was a private investigator who worked on the case, and he said in an interview with one of the news stations that, you know, what his name, Miguel's name, was brought up as having like been at a party at this complex or something like that. And so I was like, okay, the puzzle is starting to match here. You know, pieces are starting to come together.
We worked very diligently for several months.
Hunter Glass, a private investigator, and his team were probing the case from behind the scene. Glass says he knew about Salguero-Olivares, but he did not have him listed as a possible suspect. He believes the 28-year-old may have come in contact with Hedgepath at a nearby club.
I think that Miguel was involved. That's quite obvious, but at the same time, I think that we're going to find out there are going to be more people involved in this.
Now, the police haven't confirmed, you know, if he was at the complex, if he was at the party. That's not even out there yet. So again, that's alleged, whatever. But it is interesting and difficult to try and put the pieces together of how does this dude even know her? You know, because his parents are saying like he never went to UNC, he didn't know this girl, whatever. So trying to make that connection, which I'm imagining they probably are behind the scenes, and we'll soon hear about it. Either way, I'm so glad for Faith and her family that they are starting to get answers and justice in this case. Now, y'all, this last case we're going to discuss is another heartbreaking case about a young lady whose life was stolen all too soon by a total maniac jerk. Okay, so the young lady I'm talking about is Miya Marcano, and this was very quick, I guess you could say. And what I mean by that is she went missing, and then like a week later there was, basically a resolution. She was found, her body, sadly. And then the alleged perpetrator in this also has taken his own life. So I want to talk about a few of the details about this way this unfolded, because when I read it, I was just like, this poor young lady. I mean, I felt like she was a sitting duck in a way. And part of me just feels like, was there nothing that someone could do? Because this almost sounds like a workplace type situation. And so I don't know all the details to it. Obviously, this is unfolding. But it broke my heart for her, and I hope going forward that they can somehow, by they I mean like apartment complexes, places like this, where access is, able to be had by maintenance crew and stuff like that they can vet out who is there a little bit better. So Miya lived and worked at the Arden Villas luxury complex. It was there in Orlando, and September 24th was the last day she was seen. Now her father would say that she was supposed to fly down to Fort Lauderdale that day. Well, obviously, sadly, she never made it. So she goes missing. This takes place, and the search for her is on. Now, over here on this side, there is a maintenance worker by the name of Armando Caballero. Again, I'm probably saying his last name wrong. We're just going to go with Armando. But Armando was a maintenance worker. He had one of those like fob access keys, what do you call it? Like a master key to access places. And it did show that key accessed her apartment 30 minutes before her shift ended in the leasing department. So you can kind of start putting these little pieces of the puzzle together. Now, here's the other thing. Okay, so this isn't the first time this is like taking place with him. He was also accused by another woman at another place of continually hounding her to go out with her, whatever. And when she was turning him down, he threw a weight through her window. Now, that being said, official charges weren't pressed against him with that, and that could be a way people like him are able to slip under the radar, is because maybe there's nothing official on him or whatever. But regardless, he has a history of this behavior. Now, it's been alleged by investigators as well as Miya's cousin that in the weeks leading up to this dude, Armando, was like totally obsessed with Miya. You saw her picture. She's a beautiful young lady. So this guy apparently was just smitten with her. He was hitting her up, yada, yada, yada. And she was like, no, thank you, And she has every right to do that. That's what just shocks me with these guys. It's like when that happens, they can't handle it and they just flip out regardless. So she was turning him down. Well, apparently, clearly that didn't sit well with him. So again, her body was found. Now, sadly, during all this, Armando took his own life. So, and what I say by sadly is, that's to me the cowardly way out. Clearly, in my opinion, allegedly, it's not proven in court, he did this to her. He went there 30 minutes before. She probably had told him flat out no. Maybe she had complained or something like that. Something went down that completely set him over the edge. So he took his key and waited for her in that damn apartment and did horrific things to her, and then discarded her body out in the woods. And then once everything started coming down the pipeline, he was like, I'm out, and did what he did to himself. So sadly for her family, this was the outcome of this. It's just another senseless tragedy. I'm glad at least that they were able to get some answers to it, like they were able to recover her remains is what I mean. I just wish that it wasn't remains and it was her still intact and here with us on Earth. Now, that's going to be all my little updates for today. I appreciate y'all hanging out here on the sofa, going over all this stuff. I am working on my Grant Amato video because I've been going down that rabbit hole, and y'all, oh my God, I have never this dude is so insane. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google him, YouTube him, and watch the interview, especially the interview process. He is scary and it's horrible, and I'm going to be making a video on it. Anyways, thank you again for watching, and thank you to everybody for supporting the channel and hanging out here with me on the sofa. And until next time, I'll see you back here at the sofa.